So it appears to me, what is up, everybody? And get the intro off first. What is up, everybody? To Workforce TV here today. And it appears to me that a lot of Xbox guys really don't like Ryan McCaffrey. Now, from what I can tell, what I know of this guy is that he's like the Xbox guy at IGN. He hosts the Xbox podcast Unlocked. And I believe he has some history working at a magazine, official Xbox magazine, for a certain period of time. Like he had a high position there. And he's like the Xbox guy at IGN. So when you think of Xbox, you think of this guy. So a lot of Xbox guys really don't like his opinion. I don't like him at all. Maybe because they think he's like too negative. What I can tell from the comments I've been seeing is that they think he's like too negative. Like maybe he's like a pony, like a Sony fanboy in disguise. But that's some real dedication to be a Sony fanboy and work for all these different Xbox outlets for how many years he's been working for them. That's some real dedication right there. That is true. But we're gonna read this post and read the responses as well because it was definitely pretty funny how they just don't like this guy apparently. So, and I have watched the show too, the IGN Unlocked show. I pretty much watch all the IGN podcasts, but not like every once in a while I watch their shows. So I'm familiar with who this guy is, but yeah, I don't know. I've never really seen him as extremely negative about Xbox, but like I said, I don't watch the show a lot, so I can't really pay that. I'm not a consistent watcher of the show, so maybe he is. I don't know, but let's just see his responses. Let's read this post. Typically, I don't want to be a negative towards anyone, but DMC Ryan is just not the right representative of the Xbox community. Neither is this podcast. He is not the right representative, so we need to get rid of him. That's what I'm hearing from this comment right here. Let's read this. I have a list that says Cam Hawkins started co-hosting. Everything he says is the most bland, nothing burger of an opinion. Every time he talks, I have to wonder if he's even played / knows anything about the game they're discussing. Ouch. I haven't listened to their podcast in a long while, but I have noticed that there have been changes since COVID. What you mean? Isn't he a fanboy enough for you? His job is to represent the Xbox community. Have had that clown blocked ages ago. Gotta keep my timeline clean of horse. Sugar honey iced tea. That is pretty funny. Same here. They are blocking his post on Twitter. Jeez, like, how they really don't like this guy. He is not a real or honest podcaster, and a lot of stuff he doesn't get right. And a lot of stuff he doesn't get right. Information and creates confusion, but above all else, he creates double standards for PlayStation against Xbox. Okay. Ryan has had some poor takes and even bad double standards over the years. Admittedly, but having followed him since the OXM days, I don't think anyone sticks with a brand for as long as he has, and is not invested into the platform as well as we are. I don't think he's against the Xbox. Yeah, because how could you have that much time invested and be against Xbox at this point? Like, unless he's like on some real like Winter Soldier type stuff, where he's like a secret agent or some Hell Hydra type stuff. But I don't think that's what's going on here. And that'd be extremely ridiculous if he was like some type of double agent against Xbox, but worked for Xbox companies before in the past. That wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, I got nothing against Ryan either. That said, I kind of wish Dustin would take over and find a new cast. Why? He's been working with Xbox for over a decade, even worked at OXM. I understand people didn't appreciate his opinion on grounded / avowed, but at the end of the day, it's just his personal opinions on some games. I think podcasting like that is great and has been for a long time. I think he's fallen in love with Xbox as a brand, to be honest, but I don't know. I agree, Ryan is toxic for Xbox brand. This is pretty crazy. Think he does good work. I used to listen to him like exclusively, but eventually found it pedestrian. He works at IGN, so I imagine he has to try to be fair and critical. Xbox One generation was a mess, no sugarcoating that. Now we have the hardware and studios, the games must deliver. I'm going to disagree here. I've been following his career since some days, and he's always been an Xbox supporter. He's a class acting person, and while he may have some opinions you don't agree with, he's still got a great head on his shoulders and knows what he's talking about. Okay. I don't get this take. He has some bad takes, like when he praised Final Fantasy 16 temporarily exclusivity, but everyone has some bad takes. I don't get why everyone is so down on him, to be honest. He has had multiple bad takes in a row, like suggested canceling 3 games to focus on one. I don't know, what games were they? Like if there's some, I don't know. Like I don't follow his podcast like that, like as much as these people are. Like I listen to his podcast occasionally, so I know, like I'm aware of who this guy is, but I can't form that, but like for what I can listen, what I've been listening to, I haven't like formed an opinion. Like he's like extremely negative about Xbox. I don't get that opinion. I don't get that that stance from this guy. But a lot of people feel that he's extremely toxic to the Xbox community. So let's read more of these comments. I don't get why he pretends like Xbox. They say he's pretending at this point. Why would it be a ruse? Like, what's the point? Like, I don't know. Like, what would be the point to hate Xbox? To pretend that you like Xbox at this point? Isn't he IGN? I stopped listening to them when they were crying about Modern Warfare. Totally agree with you as totally agree with you as far as too many times has left the mask drop or the comment comes out of that show that shows him in his true light. He's part of IGN that says it all. I disagree. I really like him, and he knows his stuff, and I like that he is not black and white, blind Xbox fanboy. Yeah, you don't want somebody to be a blind fanboy either, though. You kind of want somebody who's like in between, who's like neutral. Because if you got a blind fanboy, they're just going to tell you all the good stuff you want to hear, and not be critical of the brand whatsoever. You want people to be critical of it, but not just be like extremely like, I guess like, you don't want somebody to just be like a complete a-hole about it either, though. So you want somebody that's like neutral with it, like it's like unbiased. He's not afraid to call them out for messing up, which is how it should be. Plus, I loved Unlocked. This is by far the best podcast out there made for adults. So he says IGN has some of the worst content. I have to agree. Nice guy, but he never really has anything of substance to say. Yeah. It's like, I gotta get somebody to call them, but give them a, like a, say something negative at the same time, too. That was like a backhanded compliment. All I remember of Ryan is a big smile or a radio voice and a repetition of what already been reported. Meanwhile, the YouTubers are actively predicting the future months before stories break. I would disagree with you here. He's been working on Xbox related magazines slash websites and podcasts for 15 years. While people may not like or agree with things he says, which is okay, he has been a strong part of the Xbox community. I don't think he or his shows are representative of the Xbox community. These comments are so funny. They really don't like this guy. Like, wow, this is some newfound stuff to me. Like, this is some interesting stuff for me to see because I didn't know they just like people really dislike this guy like that. Like, that's shocking to me. I never knew that. Wow. He's blocked me out the Xbox community, called him being a pony, and called him out for being one. I wish they gave more like examples of like what he did because I can't think of anything controversial with this guy. Like I can't think of anything. Like I'm pretty sure if he said some real controversial stuff, it'd be like all over Twitter. But I can't think of any instance where he said some real crazy stuff like that. So I don't know. Podcast I liked was my first introduction. I kind of wish they would kind of show like some of the crazy stuff he said there because I wonder like why some people don't like this guy. Like I remember like one crazy comment that an IGN person said like they were doing a podcast. And it was like when it was the Nintendo podcast, so it has nothing to do with this guy, but I remember they was stating like how they wanted like I was like one of the female employees there was like they wanted Pokemon to stay a handheld game. And then I was like I'm like listeners like what are you talking about? Like what you don't want the game the mainline story to be on a big screen on a hand on an actual home console? It's like that was the most craziest take I heard from one of their employees. But yeah, and people were like living in the comment section too, like, what are you talking about? But that was like the only instance I could think of, like what IGN employee said something like extremely crazy. I just like, yeah, what? And nobody knows anything. Nobody on the show's gonna check this opinion. Like, really? You just want it to be on a handheld console forever, and just to get like stay with the handheld graphics? Like, nah. I think a lot of fans have been demanding for the Pokemon games to be like actual full blown like console experience like RPG. But that's the only thing like that's like the only thing I heard something crazy from like one of these IGN employees. But yeah, I haven't heard too much crazy stuff from this guy, from Ryan Mccaffrey. But a lot of people do not like him. Dustin should replace him as the driver for Podcast Unlocked. Ryan has zero enthusiasm for Xbox. He's jaded. Wow. IGN aren't even gamers anymore. They're just journalists. Journalists with quotation marks. He doesn't represent me and never will. I'm not interested in a single opinion that comes out of his mouth. All he represents is his podcast. I cannot agree more. Jeez. Yo, so if he's reading this, if he's watching this video, which I don't think he's gonna watch my video, but if he does, you have a lot of people that don't like you for whatever reason. Whatever you did, you are pissed a lot of people off. Like I legit don't know like what his opinions, like what did he say that was so like this, these people so pissed off like this? Like yo, they legit hate this dude. Everyone at IGN are clowns. Why? I wish they would explain why. Like nobody's explaining why people don't like this guy. Well, I'm sure they don't explain why. Like what talking point he had that was like so crazy. Like that was like extremely like, off the wall. That was like he really hates Xbox. He comes off like a casual somehow, and he's been a professional in the industry for a long time. Impressive feat. What does this mean? Like what is this? You mean his why is Xbox is that like PlayStation podcast? Jeez, look at some of these comments. The fact that you need to talk about him as much as you do is sad. Just leave the man alone. Who cares what you think about him? He does the best he can, and that's all any of us can do. He does his job, now leave it at that, or just leave the guy alone and get a life. So they are showing that he blocked, people are getting blocked by this guy. Yeah. Like, I just really want to know what crazy Xbox takes has he had. Like, I don't know. Like, I wish, like, nobody's really said, like, what crazy stuff he said, like, on his podcast. Well, I don't know. So, yeah, I'll definitely leave it up to you in the comment section to tell me what this guy has done, because I truly don't know. Like, why people why they have so much venom and hatred for this guy. Like, from what I can see from the podcast I did watch of his, it was like he didn't really say any crazy stuff to me. Like, I didn't catch him, like, crazy, like, he, like, really hates Xbox files, but I don't know. A lot of people feel differently. They feel that this guy should not be the representative of anything Xbox whatsoever. So definitely see the comments about this down below. Leave a like if you like this video. And as always, thanks for watching and peace.